Honourable Member for Castries South.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, just before I continue, I'm not sure the correct procedure for dealing with this matter, but it refers to the Citizenship by Investment Unit. The report on the financial statements for the year ended March 31st, 2017. But the document that was actually circulated is 2016. I'm not sure whether or not you would be minded to correct the order paper, because it will record that the statements for 2017 has already been tabled, and you could double check from the document which was circulated, it said 2016. And 2016, the audited financial statements were not circulated in this House this morning. Sure. The financial statements which were circulated is 2016. There were 2 annual reports for the last 2 years, but the financial statements, the one I have has 2016. Yours have 2017? Yeah? Yeah, mine says 2016. The Prime Minister says this is 2017.
No,
Yours says 2017?
Your mic, please. Honourable Prime Minister and Honourable Members, the point raised by the Honourable Member for Castries South is that the order paper refers to year ended. Are we talking about the Citizenship by Investment Unit financial statement? It says 20. Mine says 2017. Yes. Honourable members, some clarification. Just bear with me. There is some clarifications to be made. Apparently, the documents circulated to the Parliament, some of them actually have 2016, some have 2017. The documents, in the reports by the Honourable Prime Minister, documents, papers to be laid this morning. There were Prime Minister in his list of papers.
So, Madam Speaker, I'm now being given a copy of 2017. So if 2017 is also available, then the standard order should say for the years 2016 and 2017. But it only says 2017.
The order paper.
Yeah. So I've now been given a copy for 2017.
You see, the Prime Minister laid 2017 and he does not have 2016.
But how did I get 2016 in my package? I
am just explaining to you that when documents were forwarded to the Parliament, it was not only 1 cent. So Parliament received a batch of 2016 and a batch of 2017, 2 different batches. So at the end, inadvertently, they believed that all of the documents were supposed to be for 2017. Am I correct, Prime Minister? Okay. If members here who are ministers, you would not be given a copy from the office of the Parliament, because these are documents emanating subsequent to a cabinet meeting where you all would have discussed it and it would have been circulated to you prior. You all would have had discussions on it. So what happens is, if you are not a member of cabinet, only members who are not members of cabinet, parliamentarians who are not members of cabinet of ministers, would receive the reports, because cabinet would have already discussed those reports beforehand, before it gets to the Parliament. So one of the things that you will need to be mindful of, honourable ministers, is that the documents circulated in cabinet and discussed, you will not be receiving a subsequent copy from the Parliament with your papers. So because you would have already have cited and have had discussions on these documents. Are we okay with that? You understand that? And that makes sense. So some of these reports that are coming in, you all would have already had discussions regarding that, and you all would have had copies. So the office of the Parliament does not make copies available for the cabinet of ministers. That being said, there was an error, some mishap there, and the documents to have been circulated were the 2017 reports. 2017, not 16. So there was no 16 circulated previously. 2016 would have already been circulated, I would have thought. Pardon?
Okay, Madam Speaker, well, I got 2016. And now Parliament has provided me for a copy for 2017. But it's for the sake of having the records right. What was actually tabled, the standing order says 2017. And we have to decide whether it is both 2016 and 2017, and for all members to have the correct documents. Otherwise, what the standing order reflects is not what we got, the other papers. So I thought I should bring that to your attention so there can be some rectification.
I want to ask members of the opposition, do all of you have 2016 and not 2017? Madam Clerk and Ms. Monto. Okay. Okay. But it was supposed to be what is on the order paper, 2017. Please proceed, Honourable Member for Castries South.
Madam Speaker, and of course, I trust my time starts now. Having asked for your guidance on
for the record, Madam Clerk is informing me. For the record, it ought to have been for 2016 and 17. And so you're supposed to have two of them, and Honourable Prime Minister, you should have laid two of them. So we want to note that the order paper is to be corrected to reflect that the Citizenship by Investment Unit financial statements were supposed to be for the financial years ending 2016 and 2017. Okay?
Madam Speaker, I rise with a sense of trepidation, Madam Speaker, because I've heard a lot today, Madam Speaker, and with the absence of the Honourable Member from Srozal Saltibus and the newest member, or the member from Ancillary Canaries, is here. But of course, Madam Speaker, we we all know, Madam Speaker, that we are the newest members in the Parliament. And Madam Speaker, I always thought that the role of the opposition was to be a check and balance on the functioning of the government side. To oppose, Madam Speaker, not for the sake of opposing, but to criticize whichever policy we, the loyal opposition, believes is not in the best interests of the people of St. Lucia. We are also responsible, Madam Speaker, to hold the government accountable for its policies and for its actions. Today, Madam Speaker, I'm hearing members from the other side saying to us what they really want from us are recommendations on how to solve the problems of this country. The member for Babonneau said it, the member from Castries South said it, and the member from Ancillary Canaries. They were all speaking about our posture, that we were critical of borrowing, and that they felt we should be different in our posture, that we should instead come up with ideas, Madam Speaker, on how it is they can solve the problems. Now, Madam Speaker, when you listen to the members,
Madam Speaker, on a point of order, Standing Order 34B, 34A rather. Standing Order 34A, Madam Speaker. I would just like to make a correction. The Honourable Member for Castries South is again misrepresenting the facts. Madam Speaker, what we're saying is that if you're going to criticize, be constructive, but don't criticize the same policies, or don't criticize things that you have had to endure yourself. And what we have said, Madam Speaker, is that the criticism that we have seen from the opposition has been politically motivated, they lack substance, and there are no specifics. And you will see the same mode in his presentation. Carry on and you'll prove me right.
Madam Speaker, the brazenness of the member from Ancillary Canaries is unbelievable, Madam Speaker. This is an honourable member who has been referred to the Privilege Committee for his conduct in the last sitting of the Parliament, Madam Speaker. But, Madam Speaker, let us move on. History has a way of judging all of us, Madam Speaker.
I was making a point of correction against Standing Order 34A.
Madam Speaker,
on a point of order again, Madam Speaker. On the point of order 34A, Standing Order 34A, Madam Speaker, again, this is misleading. Madam Speaker, as far as I know, no motion has been brought to this House to take me to any disciplinary committee. And so I am not aware of what the member for Castries South is talking about. And so any suggestions that are contrary to that, to suggest to the public on television that I have been hauled before a disciplinary committee is in fact very incorrect, and I suggest you withdraw it.
Can I continue, Madam Speaker? Because, Madam Speaker, it's now become fashionable to interrupt and to try to grandstand. Honourable Member, let us proceed, Madam Speaker.
But Madam Speaker, I ask that he withdraw the statement that I've been hauled before a disciplinary committee, because I am not aware that a motion was brought to the House, Madam Speaker, and the House has not voted on any motion in accordance with Standing Order 126.
Madam Speaker, I'm sure you would recall when this...
I asked that the statement be withdrawn.
The method by which a member is, and the honourable member was, as I recall, cited. And the suggestion on the floor was that he be brought before the Privileges Committee. Okay? It's cited, he be brought before the Committee of Privileges. Okay? In respect, from my understanding, of two issues. Now, in respect of the Privileges Committee, I wish to refer members to Section 7 and to Standing Order 71. There shall be referred to the Committee of Privileges any matter which appears to affect the powers or privileges of the House, and it shall be the duty of the committee to consider any matter so referred to it and to report thereon to the House. And sub 2, the Speaker shall be a member and chairs the Committee of Privileges. That is with respect to members' privileges within the House, and the member was cited for being brought to the Privileges Committee. And I think it has been played out that he has to be disciplined, whether the public, the media, that he has to be disciplined, and this is incorrect. And so when he says he is correct to say that it is a matter that should be withdrawn in terms of that he is before the Privileges Committee. He was cited, the Honourable Member for Castries South, for Vieux-Fort South, and also the Honourable Leader of the Opposition cited issues. If I recall correctly, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition withdrew when the Honourable Member put forward, he said, about the correction of the document which he presented to the House, which was not what he intended to present to the House, and the Honourable Member the Honourable Leader of the Opposition did in fact accept that people make errors, and it was for him, and he withdrew it, from what I understood. I remember that one clearly. However, there was the other issue of what the Honourable Member stated in terms of not receiving DC approval and not receiving DC approval, and it is an honourable member for ancillary canneries.
What was that?
No.
Sorry, Madam Speaker.
The mic off, please. I need you to pay attention to this one. Whilst the member for Vieux-Fort South cited that you should be brought before the Privileges Committee, the manner in which you are brought before the Privileges Committee, and you know the point which was raised, I was at that time attempting to avoid having a Privileges Committee meeting sit to deal with the issue, since I also chair that committee. And that requires investigation, and that is why, at the time, I rose and went to the back to try to establish what exactly was said to bring that matter to an amicable resolution and close right there and then. Now, since that seems to be hanging, I would suggest that documents pertaining to that which is still hanging be brought in, so that this matter, the meeting may be called and this matter resolved.
Madam Speaker, with your permission, if I could just comment on but Madam Speaker, I'm a bit confused about the procedure, because Madam Speaker, it says in Standing Order what? 26. And it speaks about privilege motions, and it says that a motion has to be brought. And Madam Speaker, as far as I was aware, no member of the House brought a motion. The House did not vote on any motion to bring this to the Privilege Committee. So I'm asking now whether the procedure is, whether it is the Speaker's role, or whether it is that motions are brought by the House, as far as I'm aware. And so, Madam Speaker, I think that I'm just asking for your guidance on the procedure as to whether Standing Order 26, 1, is indeed, we will depart from that. The other point, Madam Speaker, is that the documents that we have to bring to the House is that the Honourable Member for Castries South, who was proving that the said development had DC approval, never brought his documents for you to see, but he just waved them as a traditional politician, bluffing the country that he had a document and there was no proof of them. So I hope that he's going to bring those documents as well. So those are the 2 points I want to make. I wanted clarification on the Standing Order 26.1, Madam Speaker, where it clearly states that a motion directly concerning the privileges of the House shall take precedence over all the other public business. But, Madam Speaker, it implies here that if during the sitting of the House in 2, a matter suddenly arises which appears to involve the privileges of the House, it goes on to state that it has to be brought by a motion. And so, Madam Speaker, Standing Order 26.2, I'm asking whether this is in fact relevant to this specific procedure. And if, Madam Speaker, you would wish to take a vote on it, then I am happy to do so. But I just want to make sure that, we're all clear on the procedures.
Honourable Member, Minister and Member for Ancillary Canneries, in terms of procedure, you are correct, because the procedure was not followed in terms of the privilege, how a member is brought before the Privileges Committee in terms of motion. Now, Honourable Member for Castries South, you cannot assert that it has no bearing before here, because he rose on a point of order regarding something you said whilst you were on your feet regarding that same incident. And he is correct.
Madam Speaker, the Honourable Member says that I said he was held before a disciplinary committee. I never said so. I said the Honourable Member is the one who has been referred to the Privileges Committee.
Yes.
So he's, in the first place, quoting me incorrectly. Secondly, Madam Speaker, and I'm sure you may recall, we actually took a break during the sitting of the House. You walked up to this enclosure to listen to the tapes to ensure that you got the recording right. The leader of government business and the leader of the opposition conversed, and they agreed that the House proceedings had to continue. Honourable Leader of the Opposition, remember, and then, Madam Speaker, you were up in the enclosure. Do you recall you coming back down and we proceeding with the House? Because we agreed it will be referred to a committee of privileges. Because it was said by yourself, Madam Speaker, that matter shall be referred to a committee of privileges, Madam Speaker. Now, Madam Speaker, I'm not going to say you were wrong, but if you deem that on that occasion what you had done was an incorrect procedure, can you kindly indicate to us what is the correct procedure so we can ensure that the appropriate action is taken against the Honourable Member? Then, Madam Speaker, the business of this House has to continue, and you can go back and read Hansard and find out the exact wording of what transpired on that day, because that's why Hansard exists, so that there can be verbatim recording of what happened on that day. But, Madam Speaker, if you deem what was done on that day was incorrect, kindly indicate to us what is the correct procedure so that we may follow it and the business of this House can continue today. Or, Madam Speaker, if you were right, then, Madam Speaker, can you so indicate to the Honourable Member that I need to proceed, Madam Speaker? It's getting late and there's a lot more to talk about this evening.
Thank you. So, Honourable Members, the correct procedure to bring a member before the Committee of Privileges and to deal with an issue of privilege motion is as contained under Standing Order 26. In that case, at the last sitting when this episode occurred, and I agreed to move with the business of the House, the issue remained in sort of hanging, and it was incorrect in that. Now, if that issue still remains an issue of contention, and the Honourable Opposition wishes to proceed with it, please, I refer you to Standing Orders 26. Okay, to follow the correct procedure.
So, Madam Speaker, I shall continue where I stopped off in my presentation. I'm sure now that you've provided us some guidance on what should be done, the appropriate action will follow.
Madam Speaker, on a point of order, Madam Speaker, I really, this is not fair to me. And the honourable member has asserted that I'm being hauled before a committee. And now we're saying that the correct procedure was not followed. And we're asking the opposition, if they're going to drop it, then at least withdraw the statement that I'm being taken before a committee. Until that happens. So if you want to bring a motion to the House, go ahead, we will vote on it. Okay? But if you don't want to go ahead with it, don't cast aspersions to people that I am being held before a committee. Because that is what you're insinuating as you continue to speak.
Honourable Member for Castries South, the issue now is you have, perhaps you may redirect your statement, because he was referred, the statement was made that he be referred to the Committee of Privileges. Right now, that as we stand today, it is yet to be done. It has not been done in the correct manner.
Madam Speaker, English. You are to be referred to a committee. It does not mean you have been sent to the committee. You are to be referred to a committee. It says that it will be done, Madam Speaker. But how does, Madam Speaker, this is almost becoming farcical, Madam Speaker. I said the honourable member is the member who will be referred to the committee. Madam Speaker, I'm not even sure what you're saying to me. I thought you had given us clear guidance, Madam Speaker. I thought you had given us clear guidance that the wrong procedure was followed when we last met as Parliament, and that you've indicated to us what the correct procedure is. I am saying to you, Madam Speaker, we can move on. You have now indicated to us the correct procedure. We shall do it the right way. When we last met as Madam Speaker, you said, as presiding officer, yes, I agree, it will be referred to the Committee of Privileges. We've all accepted that may not have been the right procedure. You've now clarified to us the right procedure. So, Madam Speaker, we will follow the right procedure. Yes. And we will ask that a member be referred to the Committee of Privileges. So can we... Why can't we do that?
Because all you have to do is you have to ask for a motion. There's no such thing as being referred. That doesn't exist.
But that's what a motion will do, Honourable Prime Minister. But we're not doing it now because we're debating a particular motion now.
So that he's not referred.
He is to be...
Order. It was said in the chamber that the member be referred to the Committee of Privileges. It was stated in the... So, if Honourable Member for Ancillary Canries, if your bone of contention is that you, the Honourable Member for Castries South is stating that you've been referred to or has been cited as being referred to the Committee of Privileges, that in itself is not erroneous. If he said you are being hauled to, if he says that you are being taken before the Committee of Privileges, that is erroneous. There are two different, these two things are different.
Out on this issue because
I am resolving that we move on and the Honourable Member proceed on the debate on the floor.
So Madam Speaker, I was making the point that the members opposite were asking us to make recommendations, and in the words of a particular member, that when we criticize, we should do so constructively and objectively and with facts. Madam Speaker, I'd like to believe when I stand in this House that I use facts, I try to argue logically, and Madam Speaker, I try as best as I can to hold the government accountable. So, Madam Speaker, you can understand how we feel when the Prime Minister says that he's under no obligation to answer questions that are asked seeking clarification on motions before this House. Because in his view, those questions should be asked, and the question time as provided for in the standing orders and the order paper. And I think, Madam Speaker, you pointed out what was the correct, in fact, procedure, that questions can be asked during the course of a debate, and one would expect in rebuttal answers are provided to those questions. Well, the Speaker ruled that that is the correct procedure. You may decide not to answer the questions. That's your prerogative as a leader of government business. And you're saying thank you, because, Madam Speaker, that is the kind of arrogance that we've seen manifested in just about 18 months in government. Madam Speaker, it is that arrogance, Madam Speaker, that led to the backing dog statement. And it's that arrogance, Madam Speaker, that it led to the behavior of the member from Ancillary today, Madam Speaker. It's a disdain for the people of this country. As the opposition, we come in this honorable house, and members opposite, when they were in opposition, did the same thing. You hold the government accountable. You ask the difficult questions. Madam Speaker, the people of Tasri South placed me in this house for me to ask questions. I took an oath. Don't worry, honorable member, your time will come. Your time will come, honorable member. Don't worry. Madam Speaker, the people of Tasri South placed me in this house to ask questions. The persons you find in Old Cemetery, in Fuasho, in Monkey Tongue, in Marigo, in Bassett Joseph, they expect me to come in here and ask the difficult questions, Madam Speaker. They don't expect me to come here to shy away and not hold the government accountable. So, Madam Speaker, I am under no obligation either to come into this house to offer a recommendation to the government or simply to be nice and pat them on the back and tell them all is well. We are here to hold the government accountable, and we are here to act as a check and balance on the performance of the government. So, Madam Speaker, I remember I'd always ask you to answer Richard Frederick. You never did. And watch what happened to you today. But let's leave that for another day, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, no, you before me at least. Let's go on. Madam Speaker, the Prime Minister, you've come before me, Madam Speaker. The Prime Minister, Madam Speaker, this morning, and we had a debate that started off, Madam Speaker, in usual fashion. The Honourable Prime Minister presented his motion, the Leader of the Opposition stood up, and the Leader of the Opposition responded, asking pertinent questions, Madam Speaker. And then, of course, we move on to the second bill, the second motion. And the Prime Minister sought, Madam Speaker, to go down a road which I thought was very unfortunate, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, there's a gentleman called Mario Cuomo, who was governor of the state of New York. And he made a very profound statement that you campaign in poetry, but you govern in prose. You campaign in poetry, but you govern in prose. Meaning that in campaigns, there's a lot of flair, there's a lot of drama, you say things that are beautiful, but when you govern, there must be the attention to detail, to be accountable, to be able to respond to questions when you are asked questions. And the Prime Minister, Madam Speaker, is starting to understand what it is to campaign in poetry and to govern in prose, Madam Speaker. Because this morning, Madam Speaker, the Prime Minister stood here during statements by ministers and spoke for about 50 minutes, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, when the Prime Minister stood up to issue his statement, you know what I thought the Prime Minister would do? He would explain to this country why we had 4 deaths in the last 4 days. To give an account to the people of this country, what is being done to make them feel more secure in their homes, Madam Speaker. But the Prime Minister stood up. He told us about hurricanes affecting Dominica, and Madam Speaker, we are in solidarity for our brothers in the other Caribbean islands. The Prime Minister spoke about his trips to Houston, to Toronto, to Cayman, to Canada, to Mexico. He never said anything about the spiraling murder rate in this country. The Prime Minister did not say anything, and I will go there. The Prime Minister did not say anything about documents circulating about a minister in his government facing investigation, Madam Speaker. You would have expected a Prime Minister to stand up in this honorable house, and he's never even done it, Madam Speaker, when another minister of his cabinet had to resign. So the Prime Minister does not come into this house to account to the people of St. Lucia. But instead, he spends 50 minutes, Madam Speaker, saying all sorts of things. But you know what was most remarkable about everything he said, Madam Speaker? It led me to the conclusion that the Prime Minister is not being taken seriously internationally because there's no confidence in this Prime Minister. Now this Prime Minister, I'll tell you something, Madam Speaker, and we'll come to it later on. Giving investors everything they ask for of this country doesn't mean there is confidence in the Prime Minister. It doesn't mean when the Prime Minister goes to the World Bank, IMF, guess who he takes with him as his advisors? Honorable Guy Joseph, who is his lead economist, Dr. Eubolus Ramon, who the member from Catherine's North called a bush doctor, and he would never trust him to give him economic advice. And Madam Speaker, when this Prime Minister goes anywhere to represent this country, Madam Speaker, do you really believe they have confidence in him? Madam Speaker, the last time COP was hosted, do you know who was the co-chair of COPs? James Fletcher. We've moved from having a member of the St. Lucian government as a co-chair of COPs to total insignificance in the COPs process. That's when your country is not being taken seriously anymore, Madam Speaker. Now I have friends who work at the IMF, at the World Bank, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, I can tell you, if Honorable Guy Joseph is the one giving economic advice to the Prime Minister, Madam Speaker, Papo smoke our pipe, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, the Prime Minister, show you what? Madam Speaker, in all seriousness, Madam Speaker, what have I done that makes me successful in life, Madam Speaker? The Prime Minister made a comment this morning about CIP. I wanted to chastise us because in the context of borrowing, when the leader of the opposition referred to an allocation in the budget of $40 million of CIP, he said we were trying to destroy CIP because statements have been made that we're going to review the operations of the CIP. Madam Speaker, I want to repeat it here, that when we get into government, we will review all the persons who were granted citizenship under the CIP program, Madam Speaker. And there's a simple reason why we have said so then and we'll say so again. Persons had been rejected under the CIP because they failed due diligence, and the Prime Minister overturned it, and they've been granted citizenship in St. Lucia now. Now, if the Prime Minister, as a sole individual, can overturn an entire due diligence process where somebody had been rejected and now grant them citizenship, Madam Speaker, just in that one instance tells us there is a tendency and a disposition to interfere in the process in CIP, Madam Speaker. And that raises issues for us, Madam Speaker. So we hold to our position that as long as there seem to be evidence of interference in the process, we will have to review the applications, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Prime Minister said that we want to protest, that what we want to do is protest, and he repeated it. Who said there will be no peace? Madam Speaker, who led 2 marches against the price of fuel? Who said that there was a hidden tax of $8.50 imposed by Kenny Anthony on the price of fuel, Madam Speaker? And 2 marches were held, Madam Speaker. They were called orange marches. And you all remember that famous poster, what NICE stands for. Remember it, Madam Speaker? Madam Speaker, who said he was going to protest to open the hospitals? Well, Madam Speaker, the Prime Minister said he would protest to open the hospitals. He did not do it, but we will protest to make sure that the hospitals are open. If the Prime Minister thought it was necessary to hold the government accountable and to force them into action by doing so, it is equally good for us, Madam Speaker, and we shall do it, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, you know, the Prime Minister speaks about Coast Guard boats who were not working when we came into office. Why, Madam Speaker? We all know why. Impacts, Madam Speaker. The Prime Minister promised that he would do away Operation Restore Confidence, Madam Speaker. Operation Restore Confidence, Madam Speaker. And the Prime Minister promised the police of St. Lucia that he should get the support because he will do away with the matter. He will do away with it. Watch what's happening now, Madam Speaker. Is he doing away with it, Madam Speaker? Is he doing away with it, Madam Speaker? Madam Speaker, this morning, the Prime Minister said he was proud of his government. Madam Speaker, he is proud of his government. Madam Speaker, the Prime Minister has to be proud. And if that is his standards of pride, Madam Speaker, it says a lot about how the core of this government has degenerated, Madam Speaker. The Prime Minister is proud of a minister in his government exposing his private parts to school children, Madam Speaker. And I almost said his popolops, Madam Speaker, but I won't say, refer to it, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, he is proud of that. Madam Speaker, he is proud of the fact that a member of his cabinet had to resign, Madam Speaker. A former senator, and the Prime Minister to this day has not addressed this mission and explained why it happened. And Madam Speaker, he's proud of his Minister of Economic Development with their documents all over, indicating that there's an investigation ongoing against allegations of bribery. The same minister who, it had been publicly stated by a talk show host, attempted to bribe him and attempted to bribe a former Prime Minister, and he's never denied it. And the documents are there, Madam Speaker, and he said he's proud of his government. In the Ministry of Agriculture, and he's Minister of Economic Development, and he's proud of his government, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this morning, the leader of the opposition was making a very simple point. Simple point. And the Prime Minister reacted. The leader of the opposition was saying, when the budget was passed, the Parliament authorized the borrowing of $103 million. He didn't say in bonds. He didn't say in bonds. He didn't. Madam Speaker, can I read the document? It was a document of the House. It doesn't say in bonds. Did resolve that Parliament authorizes the Minister of Finance to raise a sum of $103 million for financing the 2017-2018 budget. That's what it says. That's what it says. And the Prime Minister was being told by the leader of the opposition that if you add all the borrowing through loans that you've come to this House for, it exceeds what Parliament had authorized you to do. That's what he was saying. And the Prime Minister could not understand that. And they said those of us on this side have limited understanding. And Honorable them on the other side said we have a paucity of understanding or whatever, Madam Speaker. That was a simple point being made, Madam Speaker. A simple point being made by the leader of opposition, saying to the Prime Minister, Madam Speaker, that what the authority you were given, you are now passing that authority to borrow. That's what he was being told, Madam Speaker. But, Madam Speaker, the member for Castres spoke about why the Labour Party was thrown out of government and his party was elected. And, Madam Speaker, that is where the issue really is. Because the people of St. Lucia were told, in all the disappointment in the Labour Party, that better can be offered. 5 to stay alive was the carrion call, Madam Speaker. And they were told, and Madam Speaker, no matter how the Prime Minister tried to spin it now, that there will be no more borrowing. And you know why they said no more borrowing? Because it was felt that St. Lucians were tired of the levels of borrowing in this country. So that there will be no more borrowing. When the United Workers' Party wins the election, they will have a budget that is balanced. There will be no deficit budget again in St. Lucia. And that there will be no borrowing. In case, if you don't have deficit, well, it is balanced. You know, your revenue equals your expenditure. But, Madam Speaker, it did not take long for the people of St. Lucia. And let me just say to you, Madam Speaker, no matter what is said by the member for Ancillary Canaries, the member for Castres South East, the member from Barbono, you see, the people know when there is economic progress in the country because they feel it. They feel it. No matter what you say, Madam Speaker, when I go to the old cemetery, when I go to Fuasho, when I go to Banan, when I go to Marigo, Cicero, Bassett Joseph, the people are saying what they are feeling. And they're not feeling the kind of growth and prosperity that members opposite are telling us is taking place in this country right now. People are not feeling that prosperity, Madam Speaker. So I don't have to come and argue with you whether or not the economy is doing so well. and everything is booming in this country once again. The people on the street, the business persons, know what's happening in this country. But Madam Speaker, there'll come a time very soon when we'll look at the figures. But Madam Speaker, the economic philosophy of this government is what worries me. What worries me. And when I hear certain members on the other side, Madam Speaker, applaud it, it frightens me. Because, Madam Speaker, when your Prime Minister says that his primary consideration is guided by a belief that your patrimony is measured by your credit rating, he's saying something very derogatory to you as a St. Lucian. When that same Prime Minister goes on CNBC, and when he's asked, you know what he says? He wants to make it easier so investors who come to St. Lucia can expatriate, they can export all the profits they make in St. Lucia. He doesn't say, I'm going to find ways to make it easier for investors to reinvest their profits in St. Lucia. He doesn't say, I'm going to find ways and means, legislation or otherwise, to make sure that profits made in St. Lucia, some part of it can remain for the redevelopment center. He doesn't say that, Madam Speaker. And in that statement, he betrays, Madam Speaker, what he thinks about St. Lucia and St. Lucians. It is not about St. Lucians and putting St. Lucians first. We may disagree on either side, Madam Speaker, about the tactics and some of the projects we implement. But we must all agree that St. Lucia is about St. Lucians. The things we do are ultimately for the benefit of St. Lucians. We may disagree on some of the tactics and some of the specificity of what has to be done. But we must never compromise that essentially this country, this heritage of ours, this country of ours, the resources of this country must primarily be for the benefit of St. Lucia. We should not believe that when we go internationally and we boast of how investor-friendly I am and how business-friendly I am, come to St. Lucia, I will give you all the profits and help you go overseas with it. That makes you a great Prime Minister? But what about the people in St. Lucia? What about them, Madam Speaker? And therefore, Madam Speaker, what we have seen in the last few months, and I'm going to come, Madam Speaker, because it relates directly to the borrowing, is a philosophy that does not put St. Lucians first. Madam Speaker, Ojo Labs is a real sour spot for me, Madam Speaker. Because there you are saying that you're bringing in an investor to the country. The same Prime Minister who this morning says he wants to create an environment where the private sector will bring their monies to the economy. But he's bringing a foreign investor, paying to renovate the factory shell, paying operational expenses, paying salaries of individuals in that business place. And all the profits is going to make it easier for them to export it out of St. Lucia. That's what he says. By saying you're going to make it easier for investors to export the profits, you're saying you're going to allow Ojo Labs to come into St. Lucia, we finance the building, we finance the operations, we pay the salaries, and when they make profits, we make it easier for them to send it overseas. That's the economic philosophy which guides this government. So the Prime Minister can feel very happy that wherever he goes in the world, investors love him. They love him, Madam Speaker. And why they love him? Because he's giving them the best deal available. But are St. Lucians getting the best deal available, Madam Speaker? Madam Speaker, the range project, and let me make it very clear, Madam Speaker, I am not against the investor. And the last time I spoke in this house and I criticized the range deal, surrogates run to range and said how I said I was a consultant with range and asked that if I were working for range, I should be dismissed. Madam Speaker, of course, those things always come back, Madam Speaker. What I said about range, and I will repeat again, we'll come back to it, Madam Speaker, that if you take in our CIP money, monies that are the people of St. Lucia's money, Madam Speaker, how do you want to take that money, Madam Speaker, and give it to an investor who wants to build a hotel at 2% interest, Madam Speaker? We are borrowing here today 2 bills at 6%, Madam Speaker. We're borrowing here today at 6%, but you're going to give range our passports money at 2%, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, and you're saying to me, Madam Speaker, that you're giving us the best deal for St. Lucians? Of course the developer would be happy. Of course he would love you. Of course he would hug you and squeeze you wherever he see you. You may not hold your hands, but you know what I mean, Madam Speaker. You know, Madam Speaker, Is this about because Ojo Labs need money next few days, Madam Speaker? And we asked about VAT, and I heard a member from Castle South is grandstanding about VAT, and they reduced it to 12.5%. The Prime Minister himself stood up and said he knew when he was reducing it to 12.5% that the ordinary person would not get the benefit. He said it in this House, Madam Speaker. And we chastised him for saying it, Madam Speaker. Go to Hansard. Yes, the Prime Minister, and Madam Speaker, not just in profit, he said it at a press conference as well. And if Mrs. McDonald was there, we would ask her to think. And he actually said, by doing so, the businessmen will have more liquidity and more monies. And Madam Speaker, it was one of the most disappointing statements ever made. But you know what, Madam Speaker, the Prime Minister says one thing today, and next week he says a totally different thing. When he reduced it to 12.5%, because we're chastising him, saying that there will be no decline of prices in the supermarkets, in the stores. And he said so. He said, I knew when I reduced it, because the businessmen have been suffering for so long. So they have so much more money now to reinvest. But then the member for Cassie's office will come here and say how people in St. Lucia are so happy. They got so much reduction in prices, and the government is working for the people of St. Lucia. Where, Madam Speaker? Where, Madam Speaker? But this is the economic philosophy that's guiding the borrowing that's taking place today, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, look at the budget, Madam Speaker. Look at the budget. Page 509, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, every single capital project is listed in the budget, Madam Speaker. The estimates. Every single one is listed. And every single one has the estimates. And every single one has a source of financing attributed to it. Every single one. So, Madam Speaker, if you refer to the document, the estimates, you will see every single capital project and how it is going to be financed. No one has told us that the 15 million and the 25 million, which projects is it going to finance? Which ones? Because the Prime Minister said, just check the estimates, it's in the estimates. I have gone to the estimates, Madam Speaker, and it doesn't say which projects will be financed by local financing. And Madam Speaker, where you see bonds? Madam Speaker, listen to this also, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, you know, it's a ridiculous question, Madam Speaker, because there are so many projects to be funded by bonds. $145 million worth of projects to be funded by bonds. This is borrowing for $40 million. Am I assuming that $40 million will pay for the entire $145 million by bonds? No. I'm asking you, Madam Speaker, to ask the honourable member to indicate to us which projects will be financed by the $40 million. Which projects will be financed? Because if you're borrowing $40 million to finance capital projects, can you just please indicate to us, Madam Speaker, that these are the projects that will be used to finance? Simple. Because, Madam Speaker, Ojo Labs, just over $5 million in Ojo Labs is to be funded, Madam Speaker, by just over $5 million will be funded, Madam Speaker, by bonds, and $4 million odd by local revenue. How is that, Madam Speaker? Sometimes, Madam Speaker, does the Prime Minister even know the budget that he himself, you know, Madam Speaker, page 464. Bonds, 5.89 million. Local revenue, 4.1 million, Madam Speaker. So, part of it has to be financed with bonds. So when you say to me that it is projects by bonds, I leave you for the U.S. authorities, my brother. I'm not the one investigating you. I'm not the one investigating you. Don't pass it on me. Just take it easy. All right? So, Madam Speaker, if Ojo Labs is being funded by bonds, Madam Speaker, in bonds. Is this money for Ojo Labs? Yes? Is money for bonds? But how could the $40 million be for bonds? It replaces bonds, but what is the money going to be used for? So Ojo Labs is for bonds. So is this for Ojo Labs? So then this is for Ojo Labs. But that's what we want to hear. Just say to me, Madam Speaker, just say to me, part of the borrowing is for Ojo Labs. It's not in there. It's not on the other paper, Madam Speaker. It's nowhere in any of the motion that the borrowing is for Ojo Labs. But just say that. You are going to borrow money from local banks to give Ojo Labs now. Madam Speaker, and you tell me there's so much prosperity in this country, Madam Speaker. But let me do a little exercise for you, Madam Speaker. A little exercise, Madam Speaker. Now, just a little analysis, Madam Speaker. The member from Ancillary Canadians, I know you're challenged. You are challenged, so just leave it at that for now. Madam Speaker, according to the document we have before us, $25 million is being borrowed over 180 months, Madam Speaker. 180 months. Every month, the government of St. Lucia will be just over $210,000, according to the documents we have before us. Every month. For 180 months. It means after 180 months, we'll be paying a total of $37,973,000 after 180 months, yeah? That will be the total repayment. A difference of $12.9 million. So we take a loan for $25 million, we paid over 180 months at 6% interest. Over the 180 months, we will pay in excess $12.9 million. If you float a bond, and follow me, Madam Speaker, if you float a bond at 7%, let's assume 7% interest, and you paid over 10 years, you will pay each month $296,754. Over the 10 years, you will pay a difference of $10.6 million. So if you take the loan as you're doing, you will pay $12.9 million over the borrowing amount. If you float a bond, when it matures and you have to pay it with interest, you will pay a total of $10.6 million. Now, I want to ask a question. One is 10 years, one is 15 years. But there's a simple question. No. It probably makes more sense, Madam Speaker. It probably makes more sense to take a loan, because your cash flow is affected every month and you have to pay a lower amount every month. But shouldn't the government come clean with us and tell us if it is true that the reason why they have to resort to taking the loan is because the interest rate they would have to pay on the bonds is simply too high? And then tell us, why is it that the country is prospering so much? There is such an economic boom in this country, but we cannot get rates of interest on the bonds that are acceptable enough, that we now have to tap into the local market. Now, Madam Speaker, the first question somebody might ask you is, why are you going to the local market? Why are you just crowding out other local investors who probably want money from First National and from Bank of St. Lucia? Then somebody might say, you know what, there's liquidity in the local financial sector. But why is there liquidity if there is an economic boom? If there's an economic boom and investors are booming and people are buying, consumer purchases are exploding everywhere, why is there such liquidity that the banks are so willing, Madam Speaker, to borrow you that money? But also, Madam Speaker, note, Madam Speaker, when this budget was passed in April, Madam Speaker, in June, Madam Speaker, there was no suggestion from the other side that we would be tapping in the local market to get monies. They said to us, the bonds we're going to sell. There's a lot of enthusiasm, there's a lot of confidence, all our bonds would sell. But why are you resorting to the local market now, Madam Speaker? If there is so much confidence, why are you competing with other local investors and consumers, people that want to build a house for $700,000, $500,000, $300,000, other local businessmen? Why is government competing with them in the local market? Why, Madam Speaker? There's a simple reason, Madam Speaker. The economy and the bonds are not doing as well. Now, for bonds, you can sell any bond, Madam Speaker, if you pay a high enough interest rate. There are people that will sell bonds to you if you want to pay 9%, because it's risk. It's all about risk. But if you get it at 6%, you have to decide it might be better economics, better financial management to borrow it at 6% than to go and pay bonds at 8% on the market, which is what you would have to pay now. If you go now, you have to pay 8%. And that's what it is. And you talk about honesty in Parliament. Honesty in Parliament, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, I'm not fooled by this thing about any wizardry and why we borrow because we're getting such a deal from the local banks, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it's a very simple reality, a very simple one. People want jobs, Madam Speaker. We want schools repaired, Madam Speaker. People want medical care, Madam Speaker. And when the Prime Minister speaks about sensitivity and he stands up, Madam Speaker, has the Owen King Hospital been open? Has it been open, Madam Speaker? We all recall what happened when school reopened in September, right in the constituency of the Minister of Education, Madam Speaker. Principal, when public, and trust me, you couldn't say it was a Labour Party person that we set up to do that. We couldn't say that. And she exposed how the whole business of the ministry was managed as it relates to the repairs of school. And you know what the Prime Minister said in one of his interviews? And I saw his Director of Communications that she stepped out again. You know what the Prime Minister said? They're not going to repair schools in St. Lucia unless we change the curriculum of the schools. And that's a very profound statement. That the children of this country will get no relief in the conditions of the school, something Labour Party was criticized for, unless they change the curriculum of all the schools, Madam Speaker. This, Madam Speaker, is what this is about. You are borrowing money for Ojo labs, Madam Speaker, rather than borrow money, Madam Speaker, to repair schools. The playing field in this country is in a mess, Madam Speaker. And I'm told there is some grand plan, and I'm waiting for the grand plan because I know the grand architect very well, so I'm waiting before I say anything, Madam Speaker. But the young people of this country, Madam Speaker, they want jobs. They want to be able to go and get small loans. You see the boys on Marigo Beach, Madam Speaker? They want small loans to buy more beach chairs, Madam Speaker. But Ojo Labs is getting that money instead, Madam Speaker. Ojo Labs is getting it. And I heard a member from Answer County speak about how many percentage increase in cruise tourism, and all the vendors are so happy now in St. Lucia. Don't ask Gloria and Marigo whether she's any happier and she's seen any increase in cruise ship arrivals, Madam Speaker. They're trying to create this image of prosperity and boom in this country and all is going so well. That's not true, Madam Speaker. Oh, you're forgetting the things you just said. We'll come to that. But, Madam Speaker, I need a Prime Minister to indicate to us the projects that are to be funded under those two motions. Governments borrow money. You see all the talk that there's going to be deficit budget from now on and no borrowing from government? That's a fallacy. That never happens. But if you're going to borrow money, Madam Speaker, and you said this is, Honourable Member, you're a little too smart for yourself. So, Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, all we need to know, what is the $40 million going to fund, Madam Speaker? And I think that's a fair question for us to ask. I thank you.